A very good morning. Myself, Dr. A. Vidyasagar, Assistant Professor of Department of Geology, Periyar University, PG Extension Center, Dharmaburi, which is located in Tamil Nadu. Today we'll be talking about of microplastic pollution and its impact on marine ecosystem to human health. So let me start the presentation. Here's my affiliation. So what is plastic? What are the types? When did we created it? See, plastic is nothing but it's a term derived from the Greek word from plastikos, meaning fit for molding. It can be fitted to any shape which we want it to. This refers to a material malleability of plasticity during the manufacture, which allows to be cast or pressed. That's what, like it can be manufactured into any shape which we want it to. So this plastic is used in so many ways in films, fibers, plates, tubes, bottles, boxes, and much more. This plastic was like the first synthetic plastic mm, made entirely from the man-made material was created over 100 years ago. Uh, it was first invented by a Belgian chemist Leonard Bacheldt in the early 1900s. So we should know what type of plastic are we using or a polymer. So there are seven different types of plastics which we use it on a daily basis. Your toothpaste, your water bottle, your shampoo bottle, each has a different polymers. And that thing you can see it on the bottom of your any plastic bottle. So there are seven types, all polyethylene tetraphthalate, second HDPE high density polyethylene, vinyl low density polyethylene, polypropylene, polyester, and some miscellaneous. So these are the seven types of plastics, and the symbols which you can see on the left hand side which will be denoted on each different polymers. So by that, with the symbols you can identify what type of polymer is being used to make the product. For soda, water, and beer and bottles of salad dressing containers, they are usually made with polyethylene tetraphthalate. So vinyl, you know, the shampoo bottles, cooking oil bottles, medical equipments, pipings, vinyl has been high used. So in India, milk jugs are less, but in foreign countries, milk jugs are produced high. So they have their production of milk jugs are high. So polypropylene. So if you want to find a polymer, what type of polymer you wanted to you're using, you can see the symbols on the bottom. That's a mandatory. So do you know what are the products contains plastics? I don't know how many of you know that toothpaste, chewing gum, clothing, disposable coffee cups, cosmetics, your tea bags, tetra packs, washing powder, and etc. So this is you cannot skip on a day. That's to brush. You have to start your day with a plastic. So your toothpaste has a plastic in it. So what is microplastic? Microplastic are the pieces of plastics which is 5 millimeter or something which is lesser is called microplastics. So in in microplastics we have some common names, just types of microplastics, which is fragments, fibers, foam, noodles, and microbeads. So in this fragments, you can see the small pieces of smaller, larger particles. Fibers, of course, the most common type is a plastic strand from the clothing. Foam, which is your coffee cups. Noodles, which is plastic usually manufacturing. Microbeads are nothing but which you can find it in your paste, in your cream, and that's a very common thing. The macroplastics are any plastic which is more than 5 millimeter is called macroplastics. Example, plastic bags, bottle lids, bottles, food wrappers, and etc. So usually plastic doesn't uh, which do not decompose or something. So plastic, once it has been thrown out, it will start disintegrate. It cannot be decomposed. So micro so a breakdown process, it's not like to stop or micro level, but instead of continuing until the microplastic becomes a small nano size and plastic materials. All microplastics derived from washing clothes, microbits found in cosmetic might be further degraded of nanoplastics. So here in this you can see the both manufacture of macroplastic products, synthetic tiles, and primary. How do they actually evolve in our society, and how do they reach the the environment if it is not properly disposed? So we cannot dispose plastic in any cause. So if there is going to be any a disposable, even a minor percentage of disposable will have some environmental issues, will lead to some environmental disturbance. So here, so society use of plastic, domestic and industrial agriculture on your left hand side. So we'll start from the manufacture of macroplastic products, societal use of plastics, domestic, industrial and agriculture, dispose and release to the environment, degradation into microplastic. Then where once you use your domestic, industrial, agriculture, all the agriculture materials which comes with the bug sprayer or something. Once it's been we just threw it, so the disposal and relax to the environment. What it happens is slowly start degrading in the soil, and some plastic, they get accumulated in soil and they get contaminate the soil. And some may due to the environment, some may get soil erosion, or through runoff by heavy rain it could get into the nearby river, or it can be a wind dispersal. So either by any cause the plastic will start, once it is being disposed, once if it is a disposal being happened from a human, the the plastic never stays there. It starts its own journey, and it ends up somewhere near in the ocean. So then there's a synthetic textile fibers, the clothing which we wear. These all has this the color which is also a synthetic color. Somehow these also have a through the wastewater effluents somehow reach the river. From the river it reaches to the ocean. Again, the primary microplastic manufacture. So once we start with the macro manufacture, and we are also manufacturing microplastics. So during this wastewater treatment, sewage sludge application to the land and soil erosion. Again, this all flooding and tidal deposition. So from marine to, again it can come back to a terrestrial ecosystem. This is something like a cycle. It happens. So how they are actually how long they can be in this environment. See, this is like National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Is like they uh, they have defined they have a scale of each individual products. A glass bottle, it cannot be it's undetermined. A disposable, an irregular disposable of a diaper could take 450 years. How many of us know? No one know. Many people doesn't know. The plastic bottle could take 450 years to get decompose. I don't think it's going to be decomposed, but it will start disintegrating. A plastic grocery bag would take 10 to 12 years. Somehow it will get into a small piece. A fishing line could take 600 years. A coffee cup could take 50 years. So disposable is a very is a problematic in plastics. So once it's been disposable, once it is reached to the marine environment, here comes the actual problem. So it is like a karma when you do for something for nature. The karma just get back to us, like the krill on the left hand side over here. If you see that the yellow color is a microbead which has been consumed by the krill. The fish, and some juvenile fishes, they just die. So if you see on the right hand side on the top of this is it's a plastic debris that has been floating on the ocean surface. This will lead to many lead to many problems, right from the water chemistry, right from the seawater levels, or the the marine um, good things has been like gets lesser due to the sunlight, which not been able to get through. So there is no process happening in the ocean bottom. So sunlight is a major issue. So the accumulation of plastic debris will changes in water chemistry, will have a drastic changes in the environment. That will lead to a many problem to to the animals which belongs to that environment. So plastic is not fantastic in marine. It is very problematic. So nothing is safe from plastic. Even see like our salt has been there's a very recent paper I've seen. Plastics is found in our table salt, and I'm also working on a paper that plastics are available in on a normal table salt, and soon our publication will be out there. Even some paper they have reported that honey does also have a plastic in it. So like now everywhere it is there, microplastic. So disposable should be a very thing. So on an average, if some people if you have a habit of drinking a water bottle which is available in the shop, some people still have a habit of getting a water bottle from outside. So there is a study already with Forbes of statistics. We have a study that Nestle they have estimated the microplastics in the water bottle. So the study finds microplastics almost 93% of water bottle, and lowest and highest number of micro found in the per bottle in the location of brand. So if you see here, Nestle Pure, I don't think the Nestle Pure Life is not available here, but Bisleri is a very famous brand in India, which also have almost 0.5 to 230 particles is available. And we can see Aqua here, Aquafina is there. So if you see India, you can see I think only two brands is very famous, Aquafina, another one is a Bisleri. On an average, if you start drinking, if you have a habit of drinking a regular water bottle outside, on three the average number of plastic particles every liter of a solid. So you must almost take 325 particles you intake while drinking the water bottle. So this is from our paper, so we made a study that with a table salt so we found microplastics with edible few papers from Yang et al. 2015, which is an edible cooking salt, a total of 152 microplastics he found. Sea salt he almost from 550 to 680 particles per kg. Lake salt 43 to 364. Rock well salt 7 to 24 particles per kg in China. In our present study was in India. That was the bottom you can see the edible cooking salt. That is we had three different locations of Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Odisha, and totally we able to remove about 888 plastics. I do not want to disclose what brand or something. This is from our daily salt, which we find it in our grocery shop. Yes, there are very famous brand which we have also tested, and they do have a plastic in it. So almost like in Gujarat, the Gujarat is the highest producer, and they have the 406 particles from 200 grams. It has been 406 particles were recovered from 200 grams, not from per kg. It's from 200 grams. And Odisha was, and Tamil Nadu was 405, and Odisha was 777, which is very less. Maybe we should get into why Odisha is very less. Maybe our further study will be on that. So these are the few images which we have taken of this cooking salt. So you can see fibers there, and different colors. This you can see these all images are in 20 mu microns. So what is the interaction between plastic and human? It is bacteria, a normal bacteria, which is almost 1.5 microns. Some may so this microplastic, once it is getting smaller and smaller, what happens is like if the particle is bigger in size, our our digestive system, if you somehow some way somehow if you have taken, or through a fish or through a krills or through a prawn or something, somehow you've taken, or through a water bottle, so size does matters. If the size is getting smaller, our body has a tendency to absorb it to the body and keep it for a longer period. So that could may lead to a very different problem. We do not know whether it could lead to a cancer, whether it could lead to a any disease. So there is no detailed study about this thing. So the medical field, the medical doctors should start researching on this, how actually the plastic could interact with the smaller plastic, how they could interact with the human organs. So if it is less than 20 microns may enter into organ, if the something which enters the plastic of less than 20 microns may into an organ including liver and kidney, it could lead to any cancer, liver or kidney cancer. Less than 110 microns may pass through a portal vein which carries blood and intestine, pancreas, and spleen, liver. Again, so larger than, like, only if it is larger than 150 microns, there is no absorption. It will come out on your on the next day of your consuming of this plastic. So you should be very careful about disposal. These are the common. These are very hard. As see if you see now, plastic is very hard to recycle. See in the Pringles, the chips packet, the color is also a synthetic plastic, and these plastics are very tough to recycle. There are so many works are there. If only it is been properly disposed, it is only been properly disposed, the recycling will happen in our country. If it is thrown somewhere to the garbage, if your mixie is if your mixie is repaired, you should properly dispose it, or you should go for an exchange. Once you do an exchange, no, the disposal will happen properly. If you do not want, if you just throw it in a garbage, the disposal will never happen properly. So this another study we did, and we already have published in Marine Pollution Bulletin. We studied in Rameshwaram. This is the Rameshwaram. You know, it's a very holy place, and there are so many Hindu rituals would happen. There's Agni Tirtham. The people who come, they criminate, and they just want to that they just give the ashes to the sea. But while doing this, throwing ashes doesn't make any the harm to the environment. But while they're coming, they just throw their clothes, their the covers. They don't dispose of. Not only this thing, and even the fishermen, they just start throwing it. This Agni Tirtham is very near to the Gulf of Mannar, and Gulf of Mannar is rich in corals. And we have a biomedical, we have a reserve, the Gulf Reserve there, and we have almost 22 islands are there. There are very endangered species also available in Gulf of Mannar, so we should take care of that. So how could we limit our microplastic intake? Avoid using single-use plastic. Carry a water bottle from home. Buy a non-synthetic eco-friendly clothes. Use laundry ball by using. It's very important. Using laundry ball could make a very big make a very big change in our because we do not in India we do not have a proper sewage system which could remove the microplastic from the sewage plant. So if the laundry ball the laundry ball will help some percentage, it will help to hold the smaller particles to hold within the thing with the ball. So get a eco-friendly usable provision bag. Limit your fish intake. So limit your fish intake is may not be a thing, but you might have a limit your microplastic. Use of public transport, fair rail infrastructure, because public transport is will make a very big change because of use of there's another study where there are so many study on plastic from the car tires. That is also make a very big difference in the environment. So use for public transport will help limit the microplastics and dispose responsibly. And these are the two instruments which has been used to separate microplastics from the samples. These are my two papers which is published of microplastics. One is which I shown in the Agni Tirtham, was Rameshwaram. Another one was from Nalatani. These both are from the Gulf of Mannar. Thank you.